Hello YouTube, this is Morgan Airspeed Prime here with my next video. This one is going to be a trading card game video, and specifically this time out I'm going to be opening up a booster box of the Transformers trading card game, and this is a Wave 5 Set 5 Titan Masters Attack. It actually comes out today. It was delayed of course because of the virus, but finally it is out. Wave 5 is here. So yeah, let's just quickly cover some of the stuff here. So each pack contains 2 foil character cards, 1 small head and large body, or 1 large foil character card with 1 stratagem card, plus 6 battle cards. And what is it, 30 booster packs I think is what these are. Yeah, 30 packs, yes. So yeah, this is cool. It's kind of complicated the way they maybe describe it there, but the idea is pretty cool. This is sort of the Headmaster set, so a lot of the character cards this time out are just going to be the bodies, and then some of the small characters are going to transform into the heads. And that's the cool thing about this game, is it's just kind of like the gimmicks of the set in a way. That, you know, since the game started, we've had like our normal cards that are bot mode and alt mode. As it kind of has went on, we've got like combiners, we've got like cards that start out in bot mode, and when they die they become like really big upgrades. We've got like cool stuff like 2 smaller characters who make 1 overall large character, and then when they die they become 2 different upgrades. There's a lot of cool sort of gimmicks in a way in this, but it works and makes every set feel very unique. And then of course Fortress Maximus pack in this box. So yeah, let's open up this box and go through this. So the idea of what I'm going to do here is I'm probably going to do like 2 or 3 videos on this box. The first one will be just opening up the packs. The second one I'll probably do some sort of deck construction thing. I might make like 2 decks from the box, and then the third video I'll actually do like a game of the 2 decks against each other, just to highlight some stuff from this set. So yeah, let's try and open this up sort of properly without ruining the box, but there we go. So yeah, we're a bit up close here, but you know, cool booster display, very nice. But yeah, we have our packs here, so we have to take all the packs out to get at the Fortress Maximus pack, which I suppose we'll start off with. So as you can see on the inside here, we just pull out this insert, which is remove this divider to summon the Fortress Maximus pack. Yep. And this is this cool thing. I think they started doing this with Wave, the last Wave. You got Triptychon, and they seem to be going ahead with it for the waves kind of going forward. So here is Fortress Maximus. As you can see, it's a very big character card. So here's a standard size character. And then here's just a normal card, so it shows you the size difference between them all. But yeah, we get a few different cards in here, and this kind of highlights the Titan Master gimmick, or the Headmaster gimmick, whatever way you want to call it. Okay, so there we go. So as you can see here, our Fortress Maximus card, you can see the art stops before you see his head, and you can see giant character, super rare transformer. You get him in every booster box. Pretty powerful, 8 attack, 15 health, 2 defense. When you flip at least an orange and a black icon, do 2 damage to each enemy, and flip this to alt mode. His alt mode, of course, is this kind of station here. When you defend and you flip at least white-blue, do 1 damage to the attacker. And it begins with Cerebros, City Commander, on him in head mode. So Cerebros is this large kind of character, or large body in this case. So here is his bot mode, and then on the other side he is a head. So the idea here is that when you start off, you literally just have the character like this. So Fortress Maximus gets bold 1 and tough 1, because he's part of the head. But when you transform him, of course the head sort of pops up, and it goes like somewhere like that, and you see there's his head, and he still has the bold 1 tough 1. But what's so interesting about this is you also get a small character, because He also doesn't have a head, so you have Emissary, or you can use some of the other heads from the packs, and he goes like there. So that's his head. So Fortress Maximus is the probably best example of like how this mechanic sort of works. Of like you start off like this, yeah. So then when Fortress Maximus dies, the big card goes away, and you're left with Cerebros, like this. When Cerebros dies, you then get Emissary, and they're sort of all nested within each other. So that's really cool, the way they do that. Okay, so let's get into the packs here. The way I'll do this is I'll pretty much just go through all the packs and take up the characters and the stratagem or head card, and then I'll do the battle packs after that. Just because I think that's probably the kind of better way to do it, to just focus on each type of card first. So anyway, so yeah, let's just get through this. It's easier to open them this way. Okay, so we get our sort of filler cards, which is pretty good the way they do this, to give you the kind of cardboard stuff to keep the cards safe. But yeah, our first, there's our battle card pack. We'll keep that for later. So our first character card is a Wingspan. So there's bot mode, and there is the alt mode, or beast mode in this case. So that's pretty good. This guy is a common, and then our stratagem this time out is Windcharger. So stratagems are interesting in that they're these cards that like add on to characters. They take up a star and they kind of add an extra ability almost onto them. So you pay more for the character to get an extra ability. Some of them are like one shot, some of them just kind of stay the whole game, and you get full art on the back. So that's really cool, just that they have that. Some of them are specific for characters, and then some of them are like, I think there's one each for Autobot and Decepticon, which is quite good. So that'll be cool to see. So yeah, like I said, we'll do the battle cards afterwards. So our first head here is Doomshot, which is Megatron's head. It's the Brave head. It's a 3-star head, and you see that the heads don't have particularly good stats, but it doesn't really matter. The idea is just that like they kill your final bot, but if they have a head, you get sort of like one last shot with them, I suppose. You can still put upgrades and stuff like that on them. But yeah, that's that. Our large character, in this case body, is Horrible, and there's the body mode, as you can see. So the idea with these ones here is that you sort of do it like that. So you know, you have different characters with like Megatron's head, and it's a bit more mix and match of like you get this guy's ability plus the Brave ability on it as well. But yeah, that's Horrible. So next up, okay, battle card pack over here. Our head is Flameout. He's an uncommon. So he is the bold 2 head for 3-star. So that's a pretty good one. Definitely the bold and tough ones I think are going to be pretty interesting. But there's also ones that give health. So yeah, he's pretty cool. Our character here is Brainstorm, who is a rare. So I think in these boxes, I've only seen a few people open boxes before this. It looks like you get at least 3 rares and 1 super rare, but I don't know if that's guaranteed or anything like that. So here's our first rare. It is a body mode Brainstorm. There is his alt mode. He's a plane. So yeah, what does he do actually? So yeah, they start in alt mode anyway. So when you flip to this mode, look at the top card of your deck. If it's an upgrade, you may play it. That's always good, just to get advantage like that. Just flip, and especially if you build your deck to have a lot of upgrades, that's good. 4, 12, 2, he's 9 stars, but you have to put a head on him, so he's going to be more than that overall. So for instance, if you put Flameout on him, he would become, he'd be like 12 stars in that case, and he'd be like this with Bolt 2. That's interesting enough. And then the bot mode ability is, when this attacks and you flip at least 1 upgrade, you may put 1 up. You may put one of the upgrades you flipped into your hand after the battle. Okay, so you I suppose you want to do flip a few times, and probably you want to attack in this mode, and then just use this to get the effect, and probably defend in this mode if you can. So that's cool. They're our first rare. That's good. So yeah, 3 and yeah. It's kind of hard to keep track of, like, wait, did I open everything from that pack correctly? But yeah. Yeah, so the way they do the packs is, of course, if you get a body, you get a head, so you're never left, like I suppose the idea is if someone bought one pack and they got a body, you can't play it without a head, so they make sure that when you get a character, it comes with a stratagem, when you get a body, it comes with a head. Okay, get these filler bits out of the way. So we get the stratagem for Optimus Prime, Legendary Warrior, Duty and Honor. There's the full art, really nice. So what does this do for Optimus? Because it's obviously a noted character here. As long as one of your other characters other than Optimus Prime has been KO'd this game, your Optimus Prime Legendary Warrior has Brave, Focus 1, Bold 1 and Tough 1. And it's 2 extra stars. So that's quite a lot extra, but if you can keep your Optimus Prime in play and something else gets KO'd, Focus 1, Bold 1, Tough 1, and Brave. That's pretty interesting. It means, like, if you manage to play like 3 wide, you can focus stuff on him and keep one of your other characters safe with Brave. It's kind of interesting to consider. And we got Wingspan again. So, you know, it's unfortunate to get a repeat already, but we expect that. We're only a few packs in. Okay, battle card pack over here. So our head this time is Vorath, who is the Tough 1 head for 1 star. I think these 1-star heads are actually really good. That way you don't use a lot of your star count, but just having Bold 1 or Tough 1 is quite strong. So that's good to get. And then our card here is Uncommon Decepticon Quake. Ground Assault, so he's a tank. While he's the only character on the battlefield, he has +2 attack. And when this or another character is KO'd, do 1 damage to each other character. That's interesting. I'd have to think about the best way to use him. So let's continue on. Okay, so we got a character here. What's this? Swap heads. So this is the stratagem for Titan Masters. So just once you have something with a body and a head, you can use this. Once per game, when you flip one of your characters that has a character on it in head mode, you may swap that head with one of your other characters' heads when you do flip this. So that just means if you play 2 Titan Master cards, so 2 characters with a body and a head, you can swap the heads around once a game for 1 star on one of those characters. That's kind of interesting. You'd have to really plan it out, of course, but I like that option. Like, when you have the head kind of gimmick, it makes sense that you have something that can swap heads. And then our character is Brawn, who is a common, but a really good common. I know a lot of people are sort of excited to play this guy. Because his abilities are interesting in both modes. It's like related to the number of stars. Yeah, when this attacks an enemy that has more stars than him, and you flip battle cards, it gets +1 pierce until end of battle for each different color of battle icons you flipped. And then this is the other one, is when it defends against an enemy that has more stars than him and you flip cards, you get +1 defense for the number of different colors. So 1 for attacking, 1 for defending. That's really good with the transformation kind of gimmick, of course. And yeah, pierce and defense is exactly what you want. Definitely one of the cards I'd want to kind of use. So that's good. I love those kind of common ones like that. Okay, battle card pack over here. So our head this time is Kreb. That's kind of interesting. And this is the +2 health head. And it's 1 star. So that's quite good. I like the idea of that. Some of the cards don't have a lot of health, so the idea of adding extra is definitely good to me. And our character card is Uncommon Chrome Dome. So there's the body mode. There is the vehicle mode, car. And yeah, this is a pretty cool ability as well. When this attacks and your opponent has 3 or more actions in their KO area, this gets +3 attack until the end of turn. And then in this mode, when you flip to this mode, look at your opponent's hand and put an action from it into their KO area. Now that may seem normal until you realize that the KO area is not the same as the sort of graveyard or scrap pile in this game. KO literally is kind of like out of the game. That's where your characters go when they die, and there's very few cards that interact with that area. So this is kind of eliminating action cards completely in a way from the game. And then when you put 3 of them out of play that way, this guy gets +3 until end of turn. So, you know, it's a cool idea for a card, definitely, and it's a specialist. So it's definitely good. With the Headmaster thing, of course, you can add whatever sort of extra ability onto that you want. Okay, so battle card pack, we get the Stratagem for Brawn. Okay, Resilience. So since we got this character, what does this do? When your Brawn demolitions defends, he gets defense plus defense until end of turn until the end of battle, equal to the attacker's bold total for 1 extra star. Okay, so he already has an ability that adds to his defense based on the difference between stars and colors and stuff like that. This adds extra defense based on bold. So you can't guarantee that this always goes off, but it really doubles down on his defense. I actually think that one's quite good. So it's pretty cool. And our character card here is Bludgeon. Really cool character. You know, he's a tank, and he's sort of like a samurai bot, so he's definitely a cool character. So he's a common, at non-attack damage, it gets -1 defense until end of turn. So that's quite good. If you just build up your deck with cards that just do damage not from attacking, you can decrease their defense and then attack in pretty hard. I think he's a tank, so he has quite good defense here. Pierce 1 and Tough 1. That's good. Next up, okay, so we got the Stratagem for Blitzwing. Now this is one of these rare stratagems where it's a stratagem for a card from, is this wave 2 or 3 if I remember correctly? So some of these cards were a little underpowered when they came out, so they gave them specific stratagems. So I don't actually have this character, but it gives him the tank and plane traits in regardless of what mode he's in. It's kind of interesting. It kind of makes him a little bit more usable, but it's still not great. So we got Common Crankcase here. Pretty cool. When this attacks and you have 5 or more cards in hand, he gets +3 until end of battle. Okay. When you flip to this mode, draw a card. That seems very good. I definitely want to use a deck, try out a deck with him and Sunstorm from wave 1. The Sunstorm, what is it? He gets +1 attack for every card in your hand or something like that. Either way, it's about cards in hand, so he's pretty good with him. Just that simple effect of like drawing cards is kind of good. Okay, so what do we get here? We get Apex. This is Optimus Prime's head. So he's pretty cool. He's a 3-star head, of course, Optimus Prime's head. He gives you stealth, so Megatron and Optimus have brave and stealth, kind of opposite abilities. There's definitely a usable one of like, you know, stealth keeps your character safe and so on. Brave draws the attacks in towards them. So, you know, that's definitely pretty cool. And this is funny. We get the Megatron body here. So Megatron, there's the body, of course. So here is Megatron's body with Optimus's head. And of course you can do the reverse as well if we get Optimus, which I think we should because he is only an uncommon, but you're not guaranteed to get every uncommon. So what does Megatron in this set do? When you flip to this mode, you get +2 until end of turn. Pretty solid. And when this defends and you flip at least an orange pip, do 1 damage to the attacker after battle. That's good. Extra damage is always good. 15 health. He's an 11 star, so because he's a Titan Master, you have to use at least 1 more stars for the head. So 12 at minimum, and he gets an extra ability. Probably you want to give him a bold head, so you guarantee for sure you always get the orange, and then you get more oranges as well, depending on what way you build your deck. So very good. Okay, battle card pack again. So we got another Windcharger stratagem, and Beachcomber is our common character here. So pretty cool, and there is his kind of dune buggy alt mode. When you flip to this mode, name a card, then reveal the top card of your deck. If it is the named card, draw 3 cards. That's pretty cool. And he's got Focus 1. So Focus does, before flipping battle cards, when battling, look at the top card of your deck. You may scrap it. So it means if you don't scrap it, you can leave it there but know what the card is. So, you know, I suppose it doesn't... You probably need to use, what is it? Is it Plan, I think is the ability you probably want to use with him more. Using the kind of battle cards, and then flip to this, name it, and do what you need to. Still, I like that idea of just, you know, it's a kind of tough ability to properly build a deck around, but you can draw lots of cards from it if you want to. Okay, so this time we get a head. It is a Flintlock here. So this is the Tough 3 head for 4 stars. This is Cup's head. And yeah, pretty cool. It looks like a kind of younger Cup almost. So that's fun. 440. You know, a lot of them, I don't know if any of them actually have defense, but still, you know, Tough 3 is very good defensive head for sure. And if you want to go all in on a character, there's a way to add like 4 stars onto them to make them really big. And yeah, Optimus Prime. Yeah, we got him. So that's cool. So yeah, the head is just here. So yeah, here's Optimus Prime in alt mode, and there's his body. So with the head, of course, there he is. And we also got the stratagem for this one as well. So we got all the Optimus stuff pretty much. So yeah, what does he do? When this attacks, repair 1 damage from one of your characters. Then, if you have fewer characters on the battlefield than your opponent, repair 1 more damage from that character. Okay, that's good. Because he's already 12 stars, and then depending on what else you give him, he's probably going to be like somewhere between like 13 and like, what, 16 stars. You're only going to have maybe 3 characters on the field, so it's kind of easy enough to guarantee that you get 2 repairs. In the other mode, when you flip to this mode, draw a card. Then if you have fewer cards in your hand than your opponent, draw another card. Interesting. Usually Optimus and Megatron are either at the sort of common or really rare slot. So they're usually like, you know, somewhere between not being too great and being amazing. This is kind of interesting to have just a really, really solid Optimus. So, and then because it's the full kind of Titan Master thing, it's definitely interesting to use them. But yeah, we'll move on. Okay, so we got Stylor, Autobot Stylor as our head. This is the +1 defense head, and this is Brainstorm's head actually. So we got Brainstorm. He was our rare, and yeah, 2/1/1. Okay, so you can get these guys with defense, but you know, none of them. You're not going to be doing too much with the guy at the end, unless you have some really good upgrades. So we have Mind Wipe as our full-size... oh, no, this is a body, yeah. So Mind Wipe, Hypnotist. When this attacks and you flip at least a black pip, your opponent chooses a card from their hand and scraps it. If they can't, you draw a card. Solid. When you flip to this mode, choose a battle icon color. Then look at your opponent's hand and scrap a card from it that has a battle icon of that color. That's good. Getting your opponent to like discard cards is always kind of good to get advantage, because you only start Transformers with what 3 cards in hand, so getting them to discard stuff, especially like early on, is pretty good. But anyway, next pack. So we get the Autobot Outback Stratagem. When you upgrade Autobot Outback Gunner, draw a card, then scrap a card from your hand. And this is, it doesn't say like turn it over, so this constantly happens. So if you keep putting upgrades on him, you get to do draw a card, scrap a card, I suppose, to keep getting the upgrades, to keep getting this off, to get the cards that you want. So that's definitely okay. We'll see if we get Outback. We probably should. I think he's only a common or an uncommon. And we got Gears here. So 7-star character. When you flip to this mode, move an upgrade from an enemy to another enemy. So swap their upgrades around. So you do so that will trigger some of those ones that says, you know, when you put this on a character, this happens. But you know, it could really mess with them. And then when you flip to this mode, return an upgrade on an enemy to its owner's hand. So yeah, this guy just messes with your opponent's upgrades, which is kind of interesting. But yeah, we'll move on. Okay. So we get the Vorath, who we've already seen before. He is the tough one head. And we got Wolfwire here as our body, who says, when this battles, instead of swapping a card from your hand with one of your flipped green cards, after the battle you may put one of those green cards into your hand. So instead of swapping a card from your hand with one of those, just put it straight into your hand. Okay, so that's good. And then when you flip to this mode, you may scrap a green card from your hand, and if you do, draw 2 cards. So he gives you a lot of advantage if you play a lot of green cards in your deck, which is good for consistency, full stop, and then he adds bonus. I actually really like that ability on him, both sides. So that's one whole side of the box done. So we have our battle cards for later, and we move on to the other side here. So it's still, I believe, only one rare character. We haven't seen our super rare yet either. So that's kind of interesting. Okay, so battle card, different head this time. Okay, we got a rare head here, Briscoe. Kind of cool color scheme. And he's the +3 health head. And another Mind Wipe, who we've already seen. Yeah, we've already seen him. So yeah, we'll move on. Okay, so what do we get here? Trax Autobot Warrior Stratagem. While your Trax Autobot Warrior is in alt mode, he has the plane trait. There's our full art. And with him we get Trax, who I believe is he is a super rare Transformer. There's a few more of these in the set this time. Usually there's only like 4 or so. And I think in this set there's like 7 or 8. And they're slightly easier to get, but I think you're still only expected to get like 1 per box. So this is the one we got. So let's go over him in a little bit of detail here. So you start the game with him in alt mode. So when you flip to this mode, one of your characters gets +1 attack until end of turn. If it shares a trait with this, it gets +2 until end of turn. So that means like car melee, which is what's so significant about the stratagem giving him the plane trait, because all of a sudden that means you can play him with planes and give planes +2 instead of +1. So that's actually really cool ability. 4-13-2, he's 9 stars, but if you play him with the stratagem, he's 10 stars. And then in this mode, he's melee. 5-13-1. When this attacks, do 1 damage to an enemy that isn't a car or plane. So, okay, that's interesting. He does extra damage if they're not a car or plane, and then he gets it here. It's interesting. You maybe wish like the plane trait did a little bit more. Yeah, so it's not the greatest thing, but because he's 9 and the stratagem bumps up only up to a 10, it's like okay, pretty solid. And that's the way that a lot of the super rares are in this set. Like none of them feel like crazy, whereas like in previous sets it felt like they've been like some of the dominant cards. So yeah, we're still expecting, I think, what, 2 more rare characters maybe? But anyway, so we get Megatron's head, Doomshot again. And our character here is Nautica, who I think is a rare. 8 stars, body, and rare. Yeah. Okay, so here she is, Camian Engineer. When this defends, you may play an armor onto her. When this defends against a car, truck, or tank, and you flip at least a blue icon, this gets +1 defense until end of battle for each blue that you flipped. That's pretty good. I definitely like this. It's got like the boat trait, which not a lot of cards do. And of course you can add extra stuff onto her. You probably want to add tough onto her to make best use of this ability here. So okay, so that's 2 rares and 1 super rare Transformer so far, and we still have a bunch of packs left. Okay, so we get the Megatron Fallen Hero stratagem for the Titan Master 1. Your Megatron Fallen Hero has bold based on how much damage counters he has. 1 to 5 damage, bold 1, 6 to 10, bold 2, 11 plus, bold 3. For 2 extra stars. Okay, that's definitely interesting. I'll have to take another look at the Megatron card to see just how good that is, like how much he wants bold for 2 extra stars. Whereas like with Optimus's one, it gave him like so many different abilities in like a small amount. But that's just bold. So Autobot Outback, we got the stratagem from him earlier. So he is a common. So what does he say here? When you flip to this mode, you may scrap an upgrade from your hand. If you do, draw 2 cards. That's good. If an opponent's card would cause an upgrade to be scrapped from this, instead you may scrap an upgrade of the same type from your hand. And I think the stratagem was for 1 star extra. It was when you put an upgrade on him, draw a card, scrap a card. So to get more upgrades into hand to use the defensive ability here. And then also to have upgrades in your hand to get the double draw. So I actually like that idea of sort of a kind of upgrade based sort of draw engine for Outback. Could be pretty cool. Because it seems like there's I think one other Autobot character was about upgrades as well. So kind of good, especially with how it like would work with some of the cards from the other sets as well. Okay, so what do we got here? So battle card pack. Here's one of our rare stratagems, Camian Toughness. So this is another one for Windblade was definitely Wave 2. So Windblade Combiner Hunter was one of the super rares from Wave 2. Windblade Combiner Hunter has +1 defense and +1 health. When this card was spoiled, I think most people agreed, like it's probably like one of the most like, okay, this by default makes her better, but it's not that much better. Like 1 health and 1 defense for 1 star feels kind of highly costed for a character that wasn't amazing in the first place. And then Gears again. Yeah, Gears is about upgrades as well. So Outback and Gears maybe. Oh no, Gears is about your opponent having upgrades and messing around with their upgrades. And then Outback is about yours. So I don't know, could be a cool, just weird thing to just like, I care about everyone's upgrades. Okay, so our battle card pack goes here. So we get Parsec here as our head. So this is a 1-star bold 1 head. So this is pretty good. This is probably one that will see a lot of use, I think, anyway. And then our card here is Uncommon Topspin, who unfortunately was part of like a misprint here. As you can see, he doesn't have a star cost. Whatever way they sent him to the printers without putting the star cost in. They did reveal though he's meant to be 9 stars. Yeah. I wonder will there be a second printing that includes the stars, but either way it's kind of fun that got through. They just completely forgot his star cost amount. Even when they spoiled it, they actually just put up the image like this, and then they have to be like, oh, whoops, he does actually have a star amount. So when he defends, he gets tough until end of battle equal to his bold total. Okay, so you want him to be bold, so you get more tough. He's a wrecker as well, which is quite interesting. I don't think we've seen any of the other wreckers so far. Maybe I just forgot about it as we went through. And in this mode, it is when this attacks and you flip at least a white, draw a card. Okay, so just standard draw a card in that mode, and then he's about tough to get bold. I'm sorry, bold to get tough. And then yeah, so I suppose you want you probably want to give him like a head like this. Give him the bold 1 head, so he gets the tough as well. But that he definitely seems like a cool idea. Like he's a spaceship. There's 1 or 2 spaceship battle cards from previous sets. Yeah, there's options. Okay, so what do we get here? So what's this? So Clobber. While Clobber is in head mode, the character he's on has the Dinobot trait. So Clobber is one of the, I think it's one of the rare head cards. And so the idea is that he's meant to be, I think, Grimlock's head. So here's a way to give that character the Dinobot trait, so that basically you can turn any body to be treated the same way as a Dinobot, because there are Dinobot cards from other sets. I think that this is going to be an interesting one to see how people use it, if they kind of find a way. Another Brawn, who's a common again, and our battle card pack. Yeah, still expecting 1 more rare. Okay, so this time we got Doomshot again. So that's the 3rd Doomshot I've got, and he's an uncommon, which is kind of weird. So battle card pack, and Twin Twist is a uncommon. When you flip to this mode, this gets Pierce 3 until end of turn. That's pretty good. Given that he only has 4 attack, getting Pierce 3 through is good. He's another wrecker, okay. When you flip to this mode, your opponent chooses one of their characters and does 1 damage to it. If you flip this character at least 2 times this turn, instead do 1 damage to each enemy. Okay, so you want to use a lot of the cards that transform. So you get 1 transform every turn, and then you can use some of those other cards that transform it to do even more damage. I definitely like that idea. See how well it works. Okay, so we got Autobot Tesla, who is a rare. That's cool. 2/1/1. He's a 2-star Focus 1 head. Okay, so Focus, yeah, is pretty good ability, definitely. And just adding Focus onto like any of the bodies is definitely a good ability. So that's a good one to get. And then our card here. Here's our other rare. So we get Fangry. We'll see if we manage to get another rare, but for now, this looks like it's potentially it. While this is defending against an enemy that has fewer stars than him, this has tough 2. So while there's fewer stars than him, on this side it's, while this is attacking an enemy that has more stars than him, this has bold 2. So he's 6 stars off the start, but you have to add a head onto him. So it's going to be either 7 or somewhere between 7 and 7 and 10 stars. So I suppose it's all about which side you want to make the most use out of. Do you want him to be able to attack the big guys or defend against the small ones? Interesting. I don't feel too strongly about that guy. Okay, so another Optimus stratagem, another Outback, and our battle card pack. So nothing too much there. Okay, Vorath again as our head. Another Chrome Dome again. Battle card pack. Okay, so battle card pack, we got Kreb again, and Horrible again. We move on. So we got Beachcomber stratagem. Your deck can have up to 1 extra star worth of actions and up to 1 extra star of upgrades. I definitely like that. I like a lot of these stratagems that they have that relate to this sort of stuff that just gives you extra. And on Beachcomber, who that was the guy who was like what is it, discard? Oh no, if you call the card right, you can draw 3 cards in one of his modes. So, not really sure. But anyway, common Crankcase, who, yeah, we got him already. Battle card pack. And what do we have here? Okay, so we got Stylor again. Oh, another rare. So what, this is our 3rd rare character. So Skyshadow Tank, so there's 2 parts of Skyshadow. I think the other part is a plane. And it is a rare, yeah, it is a rare. So it's 7 stars, and it is the top half of Skyshadow. So this is one of the most unique cards in the set. Of course, the second half is the legs, and it has the text box. And then, of course, he is a Titan Master body, so he does require a head, so that's pretty cool. And yeah, I don't remember his text or anything like that, but he is really good. I think he's going to be one of the cards that I think a lot of people are going to be after. So I do wonder, given that I doubt in the last pack I'm going to get the other side of him, I do wonder how much the parts of him are going to be going for. But anyway, last pack, like I said, let's see what we get. Okay, so what do we got here? So more guns, weaponizer. So any weaponizer, once per game, when one of your weaponizers in upgrade mode is put into the KO area, return it to the battlefield, upgrading one of your characters, and flip it. So you get that once. So I suppose this is mainly used for the character I showed you earlier from one of the previous sets, like Cog, most importantly. I think he's the most expensive weaponizer. 10 stars, if he dies, you get this giant weapon. But if the character who has this weapon dies, your whole character weapon is gone. So this allows you to get another use out of it, which I think is definitely valuable, which is cool. And we got Bludgeon again as our character. So in general, I'm pretty happy with that. Like, what, 4 rares, 1 super rare, I think I got most of the characters I wanted. Like, you know, I got the Optimus, a lot of the commons. I'd have to look through the set to see what I did and didn't get exactly. But I think we got a good selection of heads and stuff like that. The only, I think, disappointing thing for me wasn't the stratagems. I didn't get the Autobot stratagem or the Decepticon stratagem, which were two that I really liked and wanted. So I'll see how singles go, if they're easy to get. I think there's a few singles I definitely want to get. So yeah, with that out of the way, I suppose we'll open up the battle card packs that we now have to go through. Okay, with the battle card packs, I'm going to go through these probably as quickly as I can. Pretty much just touch on the rares, but even then, I doubt I'll... And of course, the first one is difficult to open. Okay, so what do we get here? 3 commons, 2 uncommons, and a rare. So our rare intrusion countermeasures software. It is a secret action. If your opponent's card will cause you to scrap 1 or more cards from your hand during their turn, instead draw 2 cards. Solid enough. So yeah, and we'll go on. Okay, so we got, this is definitely one of the ones I wanted. So Spy Master's Ruse. You may play a secret action while that card is face down. This card and that card aren't scrapped at the end of turns. So the idea is that when you put a secret action down, if you don't use it immediately, it just sort of like goes away. Like you have to use it straight away. So this card makes it so that your secret action, you can actually use it like as a trap card basically from Yu-Gi-Oh! Like activate it when you want to. So I'm very happy to get that card, just to test out how it works. Okay. Ooh, cool. This is definitely one of the ones I wanted. So Trithelium Shield. This is an Autobot armor. While the upgraded character is defending against a Decepticon, the upgraded character has +1 defense, and it already gives +1 defense. While the upgraded character is defending against a Decepticon leader character, reduce the leader's pierce total by 3. So it's kind of really good against Megatron. Megatron often wants to go for a lot of pierce, so this defends against that. It's kind of cool. I don't think it's the best card we've ever seen, but it's solid. There is a reprint of Handheld Blaster, one of the first cards in the game. Double blue pip, different art this time out, so it's kind of cool. And our rare is Scout Armor. +1 defense, it's an armor. Put on trucks, tanks, wreckers, or Constructicons only. When upgraded characters KO'd, draw 2 cards. I kind of like it. It's kind of cool. I like that it's kind of specific to certain characters. Next up, Triangulator, Supporting Fire, End Hostilities. This is definitely a pretty cool card. When one of your characters defends, so that's always, this one's always going to go off unless your opponent sort of counters it. When revealed, each orange either player flips this battle is a blue instead. So it turns their orange pips into blues, and so it takes away their oranges and it gives you more blues, basically. Like, just really good defensive card, I think. We move on. Okay. Disassemble, lock on target, hand-to-hand combat, junk cannon, escape capsule. Okay, this is good. When you deploy the upgraded character's head, put this and any other upgrade that were on the upgraded character onto the deployed character. So this is for the Titan Masters, when their head kind of comes off and becomes the character. I really do like this card. I actually hope I get like maybe a few more copies of this to really make it into a deck. I just like the idea that like typically, like as you saw, a lot of the heads, very low stats. So the idea that you can just straight away put the upgraded upgrades onto it and this one, which gives +1 attack already, it gives you actually a chance to do something. So I do like that. Okay, next one, lose the initiative, secret action. If an opponent's card would cause exactly one of their characters to untap, instead untap one of your characters that has the same number of stars or fewer. So I suppose against a deck like Cars that uses a lot of untapping, that could be pretty valuable. But yeah. I find with the secret actions, a lot of them are very hit or miss. They're either, yes, I want to use this, or no, I probably never want to use this. Came Crash, Precision Fire, Emergency Repair Patch. Sonic Stun Gun is our rare. When you play a green card, the upgraded character gets +1 attack until end of turn. And it gives +1 in the first place. So, okay. For what was it, Wolfwire, who was the Decepticon character who was all about greens, that actually seems like a pretty good card. But we'll move on. Okay, so we have Versatility. Choose one of your characters. When it attacks for the first time this turn and you flip at least one battle icon, repair 1 damage from it for each different color among battle icons you flipped. Okay, so no colors here on the flip isn't great, but repair for each color. So typically that's probably 2 or 3, but I suppose depending on how you build your deck, what character is attacking and stuff like that, that could be like 5 or 6, maybe. It's interesting. I think that's the thing where we're at right now in a lot of these cards, is they're getting very, very specific, and sometimes that's good, sometimes that's like, maybe in this specific deck. So, lock on target, laser scalpel, turn the tide, fusion borer, second Sonic Stun Gun as our rare. Okay. Oh, there's the other improvised shield. I really like the art on this, it's quite cool. Megatron holding up a car to block a blast. Really, really cool art. Probably will actually change my improvised shields for this one in some of my decks, if I get enough of them, I suppose. But yeah, it's really cool. Tough 1, double orange pip, very useful card just because of the colors. Oh, Master Sword. This was one I wanted. So rare weapon, +4 attack, and it's got a cool like effect here of like you can only play this weapon basically to replace another weapon. So you have to sort of scrap a previous weapon to use this one. If an opponent's card would cause this to be scrapped from a character, you may scrap a weapon from your hand instead. So it has sort of protection for itself. I think it's cool. I'm not sure exactly where you want to use it, but I like the idea behind it. Okay. Next up, Plasma Horns. When the upgraded character attacks and you flip battle cards, if you flipped at least 4 whites, scrap this card. If you didn't, the upgraded character gets +1 attack until end of turn for each white that you flipped, and it just gives +1 to start off with. I think that's kind of good in some decks. The initial thing I thought of was kind of like Metroplex, since you tend to play a decent number of whites just to flip a lot. But I don't know. I'm not sure exactly if you want to use that or not. But I like the idea of it. It's a cool card just with the idea of like, you know, don't flip this many, but if you flip under it, you do get a value. Just how far do you push it, I suppose, is the idea. But anyway, next up, lose the initiative. We already saw that. Keep going. Overrule. So secret action, when your opponent plays a white action, scrap that action, it has no effect. So just complete counter to a white action. Seems usable. Again, that's one of those cards where you need to look at like what are the most commonly used white actions? If some of them are the really powerful cards that are used in a lot of decks, probably goes in. If not, probably not, don't use it. But anyway, let's move on. Scout armor again. Okay. And that's half of the battle card packs, so we're getting there. Speed Trap. Okay, another secret action. When your opponent plays an action and it's the second action that they played this turn, scrap that action, it has no effect. Your opponent can't play actions this turn. So this is meant to stop sort of combo decks that do a lot of things with their characters and their specific action cards that get more action cards going. This stops them from doing all of that sort of comboing stuff. So it's a usable card. It's one of those cards that's sort of needed in the game, but it's just a specific sort of counter. Okay. Ooh, Staggering Might. While the upgraded character has 16 stars or more, it has Bold 1 and Tough 1. It's white, it gives 1 attack. So this is for the really big cards like, Metroplex and so on. I think Fortress Maximus can use this. I definitely like this card. And we'll move on. So, Master of Metallicato. Really like this card. So obviously you can see it's got a lot going on up in this box, but it's orange, black, and blue. But it's like specialist orange. What's that? Ranged pierce, and then melee blue. But the way that the kind of specialized icon works, it's like you get the +1 attack when you attack if it's a specialist, but it still counts as flipping an orange card. So this for like a Metroplex deck where you want to flip orange and blue all at the same time, very useful card for that sort of stuff. The decks that care about colors, not necessarily about having to always get off the blue and orange effects and the pierce. But what it does, choose one of your characters. When it attacks this turn and you flip battle cards, it gets +1 attack until end of battle for each different color among battle icons you flipped. So typically, that's going to be like 2, 3. And then the idea is that if you use this, like multiple copies of this in the deck, this is 3. Like if you flip this, like you get 3 just by default. So definitely like that. I definitely wanted to get at least 1 copy of that. Nitro Booster. So this is an interesting one. So it's black and then a car black pip. So when the upgraded character attacks and has 3 attack or less, untap it and scrap this card. So that's kind of cool. I do wonder how this works within the card deck. But you have low attack. I believe the idea behind this is that it counts the attack before you flip. So even if you flip and it goes above 3, the ability still goes off because you initiated the attack with 3 or less. So it still like attacks and then immediately untaps. So it sort of protects itself. I like the idea of that card a lot for cars. So I wouldn't mind if I got another one of them. So, next up, Reflect Damage. Okay. If exactly one of your characters would take non-attack damage from an opponent's card, instead do that much non-attack damage to an enemy. Interesting. Yeah, a lot of the secret actions are like that, of just this specific mechanic in the game, counter it in some way. Next up, we have Overrule. We already saw that. Versatility, we already saw that. Okay, this is new. What's this? Paralyzo box. And it's white and a ranged, I think that is, green icon. When the upgraded character attacks, choose a battle icon color. Then your opponent reveals the top card of their deck. If it has a battle icon of the chosen color, the upgraded character gets +4 attack until end of battle. Okay, so yeah, like you go blue, you look at the top of your deck. If it is blue, you get +4. Otherwise, I suppose you do get to see what their first card was. It's kind of interesting. Of just like a kind of guessing card. I don't know how many cards there are that lets you just look at the top card of your opponent's deck to kind of guarantee this. I don't even know if that is a thing. It's kind of interesting. Okay, Versatility again is the third one of these. It's not my favorite card, but like, it's a playset now, yeah. Can't wait to get my Versatility deck going. Okay, Escape Capsule again. Obviously, it's a Titan Master set. Of course, I want to test out the Titan Masters, and this seems like a good card to use with them, so I don't mind getting another copy of that. Okay, what else we got here? Oh, Belligerence. If I remember correctly, the Facebook group was going pretty kind of crazy about this card when it was revealed. It's just a very, very powerful card. We saw the earlier on the sort of secret action version of this, but this is kind of like the reverse, but the same idea. So until end of turn, each blue either player flips during a battle is an orange instead. So obviously when you're attacking, that turns your defensive flips into attacking ones and their defensive ones into stuff that doesn't do anything for them. So it's just going to get a lot of damage through is the idea. That it's just very, very powerful. It's basically, the game will end quicker, the card. Okay, running out of packs. Another Master Sword, okay. I think there's a counterpoint to that that's an armor. What's it called? A ghost shield or something like that? Headbutt. Okay. What's this do? What is this? So this is a black icon, except it has no battle effect when flipped for a non-Titan Master. Okay, so it's a Titan Master specific card, because it relates to the head, of course. So tap one of your characters in body mode. Tap an enemy that has 10 stars or fewer and is in bot mode or body mode. Okay, that's kind of interesting. So you tap one of your guys to tap something on their field. And then if you're playing it with a... It's not specific to Headmasters here, but it is here. So Pierce, it's kind of usable. It's kind of hard to think exactly about it right now. Okay, so what do we got here? Staggering Might again. That's the kind of big star card guy. Last pack. And another Spymaster's Ruse. I don't mind getting another copy of this. I definitely want to see how this works, being able to hold the secret actions on the field for longer. And it's Pierce heavy, and you can search it with greens as well, so it's pretty good. So yeah, that's that. And yeah, there is all of our cards. So yeah, we'll see if we do the second video, what decks I come up with ahead of the kind of match that we're going to do. But yeah, that's been the video. Thanks for watching, and bye.